Hello and welcome to Fashionado TV. I'm E. Vincent Martinez. Now I know you like sexy baths and kitchens, so I've got a treat for you today. We are at ADAC and about to meet with the creative mind behind Renaissance Tile and Bath, David O'Neill. So join me and let's go inside. Oh, David O'Neill. David O'Neill.
Yes,
How are you?
sir. I'm great. How are you?
I am great, and I'm really happy to be here with you because you've got one of the sexiest showrooms in town, in Atlanta, but you're not only in Atlanta.
No, there's now 6 of them through the southeast and up into the northeast, with Chicago being our most recent addition.
Wow, maybe we should take this show on the road and travel to Renaissance Tile and
Let's
Bath
do it.
other locations.
And we have favorite drink holes in each place, so let's make it happen.
Ooh,
The sooner the better.
I feel the series coming on.
Right, traveling with David to his showrooms. It's kind of like traveling with David and his dad. Have you seen that show on Netflix? It's pretty awesome.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna look for it because I think I've seen the thumbnail to it is what
Okay.
I've seen. But wait, am I the dad or are you the dad?
I'll let you call that.
Okay. Before this goes south, let's get started.
All right.
I do
Here we go.
love your showroom, and I know you've got a great story. I mean, this is nothing new. It's
Sure.
not like you woke up one morning and said, "Hey, I'm going to open up a designer showroom for kitchen and bath
Well, you may be a
tiles,"
little
or-
bit surprised how closely that does
Really?
mimic what happened.
Well, tell us.
So, we're really thrilled. This is our 30th year.
30th?
30th year in 1991. And we started with 4 partners and in the middle of a recession. And from that, we've grown to where we are today. The funny thing is how a business evolves over that time, from us initially being a group of kind of individuals had all been fairly successful in other venues, looking to find a new pathway. And in the early days, that we were so passionate about what we were doing, each of us, and working with the client was thrilling for us. And there is a constant theme in this organization. It's kind of in our DNA, our ethos. We love to provide service to the client. And with that, when you have a good product and you have a commitment to service, things flourish. And when you love what you do every day, it just takes off, and the organization found its legs very quickly. In fact, in the early days, there was some talk that we would just go to a 4-day week because we couldn't keep up with the business flowing through. But over the period of time, things morphed. And we found ourselves becoming less of a design business, although our core business is design. We also became a business that needed to be fed. Yeah. And what did it need to be fed? Sales.
Yeah.
So here is this integration of design ultimately becoming a sales tool. And that has propelled us forward.
You are the creative force or part of the creative team that really puts together your business aesthetic. You've got your own line. I'm seeing right here, O'Neill Ruppel. This is your own line.
Right. That's kind of evolved over the period of time. I think one thing that's so key, particularly when you start with partners, and again, it's a 30-year path. And you start with these 4 partners, and you quickly learn or have to agree that only one person is going to be the yes or no. You can't have 4 people ultimately saying yes or no. But eventually it becomes established within the group, okay, there's success here. Let's follow this voice. Although we feed it, and it's a team, But ultimately, somebody has to be the final decision maker. Do we go into production with this, or does this not work, or this isn't on trend?
Was that difficult for you guys at the beginning?
Oh my God, was it
too many chefs in the kitchen, right?
Lots of tears, lots of pulling our head out, people trying to figure out their pathway, how they fit. Today, there's only 2 of us, but it works. I look back on it, honestly, Vincent, is that everywhere where I am today was this perfect collision of everything that I had done previously. And so over the years, I think I've determined that there is an Renaissance O'Neill Rupel aesthetic, and that it is very much tied to my approach to the aesthetic. I think I've told you earlier, it's a BSS.
I love that. Yeah, what is it? BSS. Balance,
scale,
and
symmetry. And I look at everything through those eyes. And I am a person who believes very much in transition. I really believe that if things go too divergent, it's unfamiliar, and then you don't have an emotional reaction that you should have. That's
really important, though.
Every design should invoke some kind of emotional reaction. Yeah. So when you're doing a home, you absolutely want to, in my mind, invoke an emotion of safety, security, nostalgia, all those things.
And style. I mean,
yeah, but those things are all connected to some earlier vision of an emotional reaction. And the style comes, I think, just by upgrading the materials. But you have to have some connection to design. So with us, I think you'll find that we are very classic driven with just pushing. And I think that I've learned that technique of pushing it forward by increasing scale, by changing balance, but it's never too far off from something you can point to that you see in a classical building, or you see in Audrey Hepburn, or these kind of iconic style statements that I think we all react to.
We all have a connection with visual or emotional with all these things. And I think that's definitely I shouldn't say a formula, but it's something that really works for you guys. Right. And it also works in fashion design. It works in art. It works in so many of the creative fields.
I think you hesitated for a minute about the idea of formula.
I did.
But let me tell you you shouldn't, because I think at some point, each of us who are trying to produce materials and aesthetic, it's the moment that you understand your vision of the world, which ends up being kind of a formula. You integrate, you see things from that perspective, and when you understand what you're seeing, that's when things explode, and your whole world changes. It really does. And it took me a while to get there, but the moment that I understood, this is my vision, this is how I see things, and I think that understanding detail and what you see and interpreting that is key to it.
So obviously, I've not been inside your clients' homes,
sure,
but I have been numerous times to the designer show houses with Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles. And we have a long history with them.
And in fact, they've been very instrumental in growing and helping to grow the business for us.
So I can say firsthand, I have seen your work. You're working with some of the top designers in the city. You are doing the kitchens, and you're doing the baths. And they're extravagant, and they're fabulous.
The nice thing is that the range of product that we have disposal to is like probably one of the best in the country. I mean, I say that with some humility because I think we've worked really hard to build vendor relationships that allow us to have access to the finest of the fine. And I think in addition to that, we get this wonderful relationships going on with the best designers throughout the country. And it comes from being able to provide the best product and the best service.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like in fashion design. I mean, that's part of my background. And our students would, and my students in the past would come in with, I want to be a fashion designer. That's all they want to do.
Right.
But they don't see that there are so many other facets.
And it's a good place to inspire from, right?
No, absolutely. But it's kind of the same thing. There are so many facets that can be explored, that can be rewarding and profitable, that I think you should preach to young designers that you've got a lot of good experience here, David.
Absolutely. So there was so many other pathways available to young designers in terms of how they market themselves in the market, and where they're going to find their real true happiness. Because I think it's so easy to, in the industry, to fixate on these positions that just aren't real. And again, too, what's not real is the idea that you get to do pretty things all day.
All right.
Because there's a lot of crap work in there.
Exactly.
Dealing with
the business
even dealing with customers can be very trying.
Yeah.
I mean, we're typically dealing with the cream of the creme, and they are setting standards that can at times be difficult to keep up with.
Yeah, well, that's the delusion in many of the creative fields where, we've got this idealistic mindset that I want to be drawing or designing, but that's only this much.
Right, because you can do that, and it's going to be impossible. Some of the first things you have to do is you got to pay the bills.
Exactly.
You got to hire a staff, be able to give them supervision, work with suppliers, and if you can't do that, you're really in trouble. And none of your design ideas show up in the marketplace. And the greatest thing, and the thing that I hope, and it's actually starting to happen to me, is to walk into somebody's house and go into the bathroom and see O'Neill Rupel faucet.
Oh. Yeah.
Or or the name on their bathtub.
Do you get like, oh my god?
Well, it is pretty cool. It's pretty heady. It's pretty heady, and
especially if it's unexpected.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Not like I'm looking for it, or I walk in. Oh, I'm washing my hands in their powder room, and there it is. So. And
that's
it
great,
just makes
David.
you feel
that's
like
wonderful.
You've had some bit of success in what you're trying to achieve.
Well, I want to pick your brain one last topic here.
Okay.
And that is on-trend forecasting.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there has to be a level of that in this design industry. And I mean, you are literally at the cutting edge. I mean, if you walk through your showroom, I mean, you've got so many wonderful, beautiful things.
Right.
And I believe the public looks to you to really kind of guide them through, what's on trend, what's happening now, what should we be doing. So tell us, and one with that, what should we be looking in terms of design for your kitchens, for your bath, what do you like?
Okay, first of all, I think there's been a real change over the years to where we are today from, tile and fixtures, but specifically tile. We've gone from this layering thing that we did in the 80s with little trims and beads and things and stacking, almost a little bit like wedding cake.
Yeah, I kind of hated that. I did not like.
Well, fortunately for me, it worked. It made a lot of money because it was expensive. Yes. But today, we're much more driven by surface, and I think. At one point I was doing a TV show called I Want This Bath, and it was probably in the 90s. And I was trying to talk to people about the future and think of tile like wallpaper. Repeat the same pattern, scale, and create a surface. And today that's everything. It's all about surface instead of elaborate detail to it. So you'll see surface, you'll see scale increased, color is shifting a bit. I think we're coming out of the grays. I think people are willing to accept some color.
Color, okay.
I think the white cabinet is maybe hitting the last part of its phase, and we're going to see deep, rich woods.
Okay.
Not glazed or stuff that we saw in the 80s, 90s, honey, but really dark French walnuts and brass.
I've noticed in your showroom you've got a lot of brass inlay. You've got glass, a combination of glass with, I guess it's porcelain or ceramic tile with a little bit of inlay.
Yeah, sure. And you'll see that increasing. I think we went through the phase of chrome and nickel, and we are now in the phase of brass. Unlacquered brass is really hot, and let it age in patina. So I think in this world where we're just bombarded with technology and fast, we want to soften things. We want to nest.
David,
I hope I didn't talk
No.
off.
No, on the contrary, you have left me inspired, motivated, and a little educated. I've learned quite a bit from you today.
Awesome.
So
Michael,
thank you for being on Fashionado TV.
Thank you, sir.
And don't be a stranger. I've got a feeling we may be back.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys.